Right, man. 2026 National Signing Day. In the early signing period, and the Blue Raiders signed and 14 and new players on our roster, and 15 if you want to count Landon Collins, who just signed a scholarship yesterday, which I think Blue Raider faithful will be extremely excited about. This group, again, is a group that just pushes us forward. I think we've seen enough players who we've recruited over the last three cycles, or 2 cycles, well, 3 cycles, have given us an opportunity, man, to get better. For us, we really tried to approach the high school ranks in this one, with a couple of, a hit of a junior college player. We have portal recruiting like in front of us, but I thought we really wanted to hone in on a couple of things, right? And we still have until Friday to finish out this class, and so we still have a couple of guys in the queue, which is extremely important for the Blue Raiders. But when you look at the class itself, a quarterback, and a couple of wideouts who are dynamic in different ways, a long offensive lineman, some defensive players that I think are going to impact next year. When you look at the defensive end, Osmer, and you look at what we tried to do inside at the D tackle position with Moreau, Jemfy. We've got a pretty good group, and that I'm excited about. And then on the back end, to look at Ethan Sherman at corner, Bryce Williams at safety. I'm just excited about how the talent sort of intermixes this idea of being in-state, South Florida, schools in and around that we're familiar with and programs that we have history with. This is a good start to what's going to be a class that needs to be the class that moves us forward. So with that being said, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, what do you think really stood out to you at this signing class? And I'm 9 of 14, where on the defensive side, you're really having to rebuild that after losing some seniors this past year. But what do you think is really the point of emphasis that you were looking for within this class?
Well, I think looking at knowing that we could have some portal movement, on that D line, right? And most of those guys were young guys who were developed in the program. We're going to go get some older guys, but I think you have to replace, production with guys who can be developed in your program, and I think that's what we're going after, in this class, especially when you start to talk about, like the defensive pieces. We still want. We've got some young corners in the queue. We're going to have to go get some older guys, but just looking at the safety position, wanted some younger safeties. I mean, you saw Chris Noble play, man. You saw Locke Kennedy get some special teams time. Kamari Hall, right? I mean, like we're young, so we're just trying to add young pieces so that when we do go get some older pieces, those older pieces are a little more pronounced, and we're not looking at all old on top and nothing underneath. It has to be about development. We're still going to hit some offensive high school kids. When you talk about the O-line, because I think this is going to be a class that probably has 3 or 4 young guys, and then really it's going to be old in terms of what we supplement with, because we still have some really good young guys in our program. But I think all the way around, we tried to, Rocco is an excellent quarterback who's won a lot. The one thing about this class is still playing. I mean, when you look at this class, I mean, a lot of these guys, Jacksonville Reigns, they're playing. St. Thomas Aquinas, still going. I mean, you look at what we did. Shane Rochelle from Miami Northwestern, flat out can go get it. When you start to look at these dudes and programs they're coming from, Reynolds Michelle, he's still playing at Baylor. I mean, they got a state championship, I think, tomorrow, or maybe tonight. I can't remember tomorrow. This class is still playing. I mean, it's a group of guys, man, that know how to win. And if you want to win, you got to grab winners, because they understand the work, and that's got to be done.
Coach, you guys have been really big on getting local talent, in-state kids, but when you get a kid like Justice Haggard, who not only is local but 10 minutes away from MTSU,
yeah,
how big is that to not only acquire that kind of talent but also build those local connections?
Yeah, I think the local talent is one to me, man, that sort of rings home, right? You start to look at those guys, and people in our community and in the local community want to see guys that they know, okay, and have some familiarity with. But Oakland is always producing. Creasy's always producing. He's always got guys. The important thing that I've seen through that process is that these guys that are young, that are coming, from the local community, I mean, they're talented. When you look at his stats and what he did this year now, I know he's hurt, and he's out. He won't play in the state championship game, but, he was phenomenal this year for that football team on both sides of the ball. Two-way player, man, who had a lot of production. Those guys, to me, are going to play early. I mean, if Neo Clifton would have been healthy, he would have played like this year. I just think the local kids that we're connecting with and bringing in here are going to be impact players. You're going to be hearing a lot of local names. I mean, I can't wait to see Archie Roseman next year, as well as some of these other guys. And they're going to grow up around a young quarterback by the name of Roman Gagliano, and I think that dude's going to have a successful career here along with Stanley. So we just got a lot of young players, but I think the local talent is definitely leading the way for our program.
Coach, you got Jonas to flip from Jack State, I think last night or 2 nights ago. Talk about the double win there, getting a great talented player and flipping from a conference opponent.
Well, look, I mean, I think looking at the production of that defense and seeing how he could play and fit into our scheme, again, man, we're going to lose some good players. But like Jonas saw how close we were. He believes in what Coach Stu has going on. He understands that he's a depth piece that can impact this program, and he's from the state of Tennessee. I mean, you gotta drive this way to sort of get through, to head on down there to Jack State. And I think he felt like from staff to scheme fit to wanting to play with some of these guys that are on this team that he connected with when he came on his visit. This was the right fit. So to get a flip like that is outstanding. It just means that we are connecting. People do see us as a program that's on the come, a lot of close games. And now what we got to do is, start to make sure that we move it way north of where we are right now.
Coach, this is a team that had a lot of youth movement down the stretch.
Right.
Is that opportunity to play early a key pitch to prospective student athletes?
Yeah, it is, for certain positions. I mean, you never really want O-linemen having to play early, man, because there's still a lot of development, left in that. But you're trying to get those guys in the queue. But when you start, let's talk about, Bynum and Shakai Woods playing early, right? I mean, young guys become old guys. And you need those guys to be rotational players in there. Let's talk about, Zion Simpson-Smith, playing for us. Man, you start to look at, what we've done. Aiden Butts, he played as a young guy, right? Now Aiden's going to be a junior, coming up. Young guys become old guys. And so you need young, good rotational players in there. They see their value. They see their worth. 15 snaps a game means something. Like when you were talking about playing 60 or 70 snaps of football. And I think that time is really now in college football, as long as guys are physically able and ready to go get it.
Were you guys intentional in getting into South Florida?
Yeah. We're intentional about getting back into South Florida. I mean, if you look at my history, I mean, I've got a lot of history with, West Palm, Dade, everything from Homestead to West Palm. I've recruited it for years, and so has Coach Stu. Got a lot of great relationships down there, but it's time for us to get back down there. A lot of speed, a lot of talent there, and I think it meshes with where we want to go. When you look at the home talent, you look at the neighboring states, but the thing about our conference, a lot of our conference is down in South Florida too, and so those kids travel. This is not a far jump at all. It's easy for parents to get here, and there's definitely old MTSU connections with us in South Florida. So we're tapping into that as well.
Emmanuel was part of your signing class a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And then you went junior college route. What did you see in him from the junior college experience that kind of validated what you saw 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was really the same thing. He was missing a class, and so that's why we actually sent him there, right? So we sent him there, and like through the process, had to re-recruiting, but I mean, he felt so comfortable with Coach Stu and the staff, and just like knowing Coach Hargraves and like having had a relationship. All those schools in our conference were trying to get him. Because he played at a school, that sits right there. Georgia Military's right there, so everybody knew who he was. So from Kennesaw to Jack, everybody wanted to sort of press his buttons a little bit. But I think he felt good about us, where we are, and wanted to reconnect with some of those dudes that he would have come in with initially. So I think that connection was really strong, like with Jimphy, and his parents are unbelievable.
You got a lot of these guys on campus for game day visits at the end of the season. You kind of mentioned just those close losses. Do you believe with them visiting at the end and seeing the close losses turn into wins, kind of like, okay, we can take the next step, come here and take the next step?
Yeah, I think they saw it, right? I think they, a lot of these guys were on that visit. We save our visits for at the end, right? Like we try not to do, visits every weekend. So most of these guys were here during that time, so they had a chance to see, feel, like what that was like for us to get that home win, and then they watched us go on the road and win in New Mexico State. And I think for these guys, it was proof positive that this thing is getting ready to move in a different direction. We needed consecutives. We got it. They see it. They feel it. The energy, feels different. It's sort of, the way you end one chapter is really the way you start the next, and that's the way we're going about it. From a recruiting standpoint, we know that we want to be a little more dynamic. We want to be fast. This thing's got speed on it. It's got really good football players, but I think more than anything else, there's a lot of winners here.
Signed 3 defensive tackles, 2 edge rushers. How important was addressing the defensive line in this class?
Important. We the early takes, a couple of those guys aren't here, because we went junior college, and we didn't feel like that met our needs. But we had good rooms. We had good depth. But what we saw was that it was young and it was going to get old real fast. And now, we've got moderate depth again, but we needed to address it with youth. And I think when you do that, it gives you some time. Developmentally, when I look at Christian Moreau, I mean, if he had not been hurt, he was one of the top D tackles in South Florida, right? Playing at St. Thomas Aquinas. He got hurt early in the season, and whether he would have found himself going to, USF, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. A lot of people wanted, his talents, and in the end, we just stayed with the process, right? So getting him, looking at Jaden Arenas-Michelle, a local talent, a young guy that's on the come, but he's really big, and he needs the maturing, right? But I think he's going to step in and play early, and obviously, you talked about Jimphy already. So I think for us, we got some mix-in classes. We need Jimphy to step in for Shikai. That's important, in that process. But these other 2 kids, if I had to say, who's probably most ready to do something for us, right now, I think Arenas-Michelle's going to come along, but if you look at Christian Moreau and you really, he's the, state champ in a shot and disc in the state of Florida. Extremely explosive. He's a 54-inch vertical jump guy. So at 290, that's pretty impressive. He can do it. So I'm truly excited about this young talent, because I think this young talent, I mean, he reminds me of what we had in DeMonte. That explosiveness okay, man, as a nose or a 3 technique. And when you can get that inside and that type of knockback, man, it changes what you do up front. It makes your backers play downhill and play fast.
You mentioned earlier about a lot of the guys in this class either being on winning programs or still playing for state championships.
Yeah.
It was similar last class too, with a lot of guys playing for state titles. But how can it kind of change the culture whenever you have so many guys coming into the program that are used to winning? They've got the championship DNA, and obviously being with you guys that know how to do it.
Well, look, I think like anything else, right? You don't want to have to tell guys or have to paint pictures of what winning looks like to guys. If you already know, then the standard is the standard. I think in the last two classes, okay, man, we've been able to, or the last 2 years, we've been able to get those guys, but we've also, like within our program, working to teach guys how to do it because they hadn't done it. And so, I mean, as you look at, the pedigree and sort of the backstop of where some of these guys are coming from, even in some of our young guys, that showed up a little bit. It showed up, with DJ being able to get like deep into the playoffs. Like these guys, understand, and so as they're hitting the field, it's changing. Zion Simpson-Smith, okay. I mean, you look at him at Pearl Cone, they won the state title, so he knows. So when he steps on the field, okay, I mean, he's playing with a different type of motor, right? So I think the intelligence and football IQ and sort of background and pedigree of those guys, like the DNA, we're trying to bring that into our program and sort of inflate that a little bit and spread it across our teams, spread it across our rooms, and what you get from that is hopefully some residue that moves you forward.
Today is one of the busiest days for you and your staff all year long, but
Right.
At the same time, how relieving and rewarding is it to get your 2026 class locked down?
Yeah, it's not done. I tell you what, I wish it was done. You're right, man. But this is like the appetizer, right? You go in and we eating finger foods right now. You look at it. This is just a start. I think the February class will be the bulk of this, right? And we'll have more guys jumping in the boat by the time we start school, and so that February class will look different and be probably the crux of where we're at. How many guys do you think we're going to take total overall? I don't know. It's probably going to be somewhere between 30 and 35 total. So we still probably got another 21, 22 guys, to look at. But I like this roster. I like how this roster is going to clean up, shape up, and, for the 26th season. We just got to get them in so we can get started with spring when spring comes. Winter conditioning comes before spring, so I'll be excited about that here shortly.
And Coach, you talked about obviously big emphasis on the high school ranks this time. Only one portal window now. Did that change your recruiting strategy at all from years past, or not really?
Well, it did, right? I think for us, we didn't rush. People got to understand the calendar changed just like 4 months ago, right? And that was a tough thing because we were in fall camp when we found out that there was going to be, like, December was going to be shut down. That's so different than what it was a year ago because you didn't have those first 2 weeks in December to get guys on your campus. And when you did, you were rushing, right? Because everybody was fighting for the same guys. I think what this allowed us to do was like, hey, okay, what guys do we want? What relationships have we truly invested in? And let's be smart. Let's not rush it. And I think not rushing it sort of put some emphasis points on need, and it sort of leaves us time now to attack the portal. With this one portal window and having the month of December as a dead period, my coaches have been in there just watching film. Today we spent time as we were in there talking to our 26th class, or the first part of it. We were watching and offering 27s, right? That's what we were doing, for about 3 hours. Talking about the 27s and really spending time as a staff just looking at those guys in state so we can really, start to make our mark on these in-state guys. But since the season's been over, I've been in evaluation meetings, and what the staff's been doing is really evaluating the portal. And that's going to be heavy because when it opens up on the 2nd, I mean, this thing is going to be free agency at its best. Okay, I mean, hey, can I get a 4? Can I get a 5? Can I get a 6? Can I get a 7? I mean, it's going to be auctioning at its best, right? So I think you got to be prepared. I think you got to be locked in. The Blue Raiders will be ready to, man, place their bids and get in the hunt, man, for what we need. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Anything else, Coach? Coach, one more.
With Bryson Maddox having that length and being the
Yeah.
downfield weapon he is, can
Yeah.
you kind of speak on the mismatch ability that he can provide to the offense when he gets here?
Actually, he didn't want you to talk about that guy. Man, I want to keep him off the radar. Nah, man, he's special talent. Special talent. Not only is he long, explosive. He's at a smaller school, but let me tell you, so many schools came to get him. A lot of private schools offered him and his family a lot of money to leave, like his area, and he stayed. So that tells you what type of young man he is, right? He's a matchup nightmare. He's different because he's Holden-esque, with the ball skill set, but faster. Right. So when you're big and fast and you can moss a guy at any time, or you can run past dudes, that's a tough matchup to have. And he's that. When we asked him this morning, he said, "I'm coming to put you on the map, Coach." I was like, "Okay, thank you. Come put us on the map." So excited about him, truly.